Good evening. It is February the 13th in the year of our Lord 2026. This is Heath.
Holly.
And you're listening to the One Gospel Bible Caravan Chronological Bible in a Year, Episode 8 Overview. What do you think, Holly?
I think that I'm very short. I keep looking over my computer to see me on the screen. Yeah, I just figured out I'm short today.
That's okay.
But what I do think is I'm really glad that we are firmly into the Bible Caravan.
Yes.
Mid-February.
Yes, absolutely.
On this Valentine's Eve.
On this eve of St. Valentine's Day, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, Holly, is I am going to share my screen. Share. Oh, you know what? I got to turn the volume up so we can hear the sweet sounds of CJ.
Oh.
All right.
My favorite son. I don't hear him, though.
No, not yet. Now you can.
There we go.
Welcome to the One Gospel Bible Caravan, a chronological Bible study in 1 year, days 45 through 51. And fade
the CJ.
And start. We're making progress. Check out that pie graph, Holly.
Oh, it looks great.
Oh, it's just inspiring.
Just imagine if
you're
it was
on your
coconut
way.
Pie.
It's almost like we're in February.
Yes.
All right. So what's coming up on days 45 through 51? Well, it's 90 minutes of content if you watch the Chronological Bible playlist. And why wouldn't you? On the One Gospel channel, you get to hear Holly and I alternate from verse to verse.
Butchering names.
Yes, and it's covering 14 days of time. We've got, we're starting at the point the tabernacle was finished, covered by both Exodus and Numbers. Then we have the first 12 days after that. This Passover is celebrated. And then we have many instructions to Moses about sacrifices, the congregation of the priests. We've got laws of clean and unclean animals, purification and consecration after giving birth, the law of leprosy, and we have one exciting little story. Nadab and Abihu, they're burning strange incense, and they, let's just say nothing good happened.
It didn't go well.
Poor guys, yes. And they were killed while Aaron, Eleazar, and Ithamar continue their priestly duties because Aaron's their dad and Eleazar and Ithamar are their brothers, which is the sad part about it.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about continuity because the first thing you may notice is, wait a minute, it's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and then Numbers. Why are we going Exodus, part of Numbers, and then Leviticus? Well, the reason for that is because Leviticus takes place while the Hebrews are still in Mount Sinai and after the tabernacle was built. So it must have taken place in the first 2 months of the second year. But Numbers, on the other hand, jumps around a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers 9:15 was the same day as Exodus 40:17, first day of the second year of the Exodus. Numbers 9:1 was the 14th day of the first month of the second year, which is, just 14 days later, but it's also the other way around. Numbers 9 is not written in chronological order. And then Numbers 1 takes place at the first day of the second month of the second year, which is after both of those things. And then Numbers 10:11 starts with the 20th day of the second month of the second year when Israel leaves Mount Sinai. So that's why Numbers 10 is not found in this part of the readings. So here is the rhetorical question of the day, Holly. Why do you think the inspired sequence of Numbers was not chronological?
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to say that it was thematic, but why was it written in the way it was written? I would say, God only knows.
Yes.
Now, this is also the first time in our Bible caravan that we get to compare some parallel passages between the books. Because we see that Exodus 40 and Numbers 9 are covering the exact same time. So, Holly, why don't you read the first passage?
Okay. And it came to pass in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was raised up. Then the cloud covered the tabernacle of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter the tabernacle of meeting, because a cloud rested above it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Whenever the cloud was taken up from above the tabernacle, the children of Israel would go onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not journey till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was above the tabernacle by day, and fire was over it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys.
You may continue in Numbers 9.
Now, on the day that the tabernacle was raised up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, the tent of the testimony. From the evening until the morning, it was above the tabernacle like the appearance of fire. So it was always. The cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. Whenever the cloud was taken up from above the tabernacle, after that the children of Israel would journey, and in the place where the cloud settled, there the children of Israel would pitch their tents.
Good work. Okay. So again, I think you can see, pretty clearly, same period of time. And when you look at the highlighted areas, if you're watching this, that you can see that, yep, it's the same time. So we're not going to do this every single time we have parallel passages in the Bible, but I do think it's worth mentioning sort of the first one.
Yep, a look-see.
So all the quotes actually come from Leviticus. And so I'll read the Leviticus and you'll read the quote. Here we go. And if she is not able to bring a lamb, then she may bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. One is a burnt offering and the other is a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement for her, and she will be clean.
All right, I'm reading from Luke. Now, when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were completed, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, as it is written in the law of the Lord. Every male who opens the womb shall be called holy to the Lord, and to offer a sacrifice according to what is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons.
Okay, and keep in mind the context of that is they were not able to bring a lamb. Okay. Leviticus 11:44 and Leviticus 9:2. I'll read them both and then Holly will read Peter. For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore consecrate yourselves, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy.
Reading from 1 Peter. But as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, because it is written, be holy, for I am holy.
And Leviticus 14:2-32. This is a reference. Those are the laws of leprosy. These are the laws Jesus was referring to when he tells healed lepers, so he just healed them, to show themselves to the priests and bring the offering for their cleansing as a testimony to the priests. So in Matthew 8:4, Mark 1:44, Luke 5:14, and Luke 17:14, Jesus was referring to those lepers to follow the law as found in Leviticus. So Holly's going to read the first caravan question.
All right, Leviticus 2:13. Grain offerings and all offerings are to be salted. And this salt is called the salt of the covenant of your God. An eternal covenant of salt exists between the Aaronic priest and Yahweh, and between the David line of kings and Yahweh.
Jesus draws a parallel between seasoning a sacrifice with salt and being seasoned with fire, which was the context of that fire was it was a punishment per the preceding verses. And the quote is, "For everyone will be seasoned with fire, and every sacrifice will be seasoned with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt loses its flavor, how will you season it? Have salt in yourselves and have peace with one another."
What is Jesus getting at? See also Matthew 5:13 and Luke 14:34 to 35 for more of what Jesus teaches about salt.
Yes. So
I
we
like
we're
salt.
just giving you a since Jesus is talking about salt, we're giving you examples beginning in Leviticus, but including other areas of the Hebrew Bible, the use of salt with the question of, well, if that is the context, what is he getting at?
Yep.
Here's your next caravan question. Leviticus 3:17. The prohibition of eating blood is first mentioned here and repeated multiple times. Why would Jesus tell Jews that they must drink his blood in John 6:53 to 56?
Leviticus 5:1. This seems to indicate a person must testify in the presence of an oath. Is this why Jesus answered the high priest after initially being silent?
Leviticus 5:3. Touching the unclean makes one unclean. What would Jews have thought about Jesus touching lepers who were categorically unclean?
Leviticus 5:5. This is the first mention in the Bible of confessing sin, which literally means to throw, shoot, or cast. Confession of sins continued with John the Baptist and through the early Christian era, both in new converts and practicing Christians. How are Christians to confess their sins one to another?
Leviticus 5:19. What is the key difference between a trespass offering and a sin offering?
Leviticus 7:37 through 38. This summarizes the first 7 chapters of Leviticus, providing the major types of offerings: burnt offerings, grain offerings, sin offerings, trespass offerings, consecrations, and peace offerings. Among other details, note lambs are a component of all of these offerings, except grain offerings. How does this contribute to explaining how Jesus could be the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world?
Leviticus 11 to 8, 46 to 47, and Deuteronomy 14:3-8. The prohibition against eating unclean animals is clear, and the distinctions between clean and unclean are clear. Jesus says overtly that food doesn't make one unclean, yet the dietary practices and prohibitions for early Christians varied. And there's lots of verses there. The key to understanding this diversity seems to be found in Romans 14:14. What is a Christian to think about diet today?
Leviticus 11:21 through 23. Gnats are not one of the clean insects. So if they fall into wine, a filter is needed to remove the unclean gnats before drinking it. Camels are also unclean. So what is Jesus saying in Matthew 23:24?
When he said you strain a gnat and swallow a camel?
Mhm.
Leviticus 11:22. Although it sounds unappetizing to many to eat locusts, it wasn't allowed food in the law. Why do you think locusts and wild honey were the food of John the Baptist?
Leviticus 11:36. This is the only verse in the Bible where mikvah, translated as plenty of water, is used that seems to connect it to the first century use, where mikvahs were pools of water for ritual cleansing in the Jewish community. Is Jewish ritual bathing another to Christian baptism?
Oh, that's horrible
That was
English.
really bad English.
Yeah. So how is it related? That's
Yes.
how we're going to ask this question.
Yes.
Is Jewish ritual bathing related to Christian baptism?
Very good. He thinking on your feet.
Yeah. on both of them while I'm sitting. Leviticus 12:3. Circumcision is reinforced in the Torah, which was previously described as a covenant in the flesh of Abraham and his children. Compare the controversy of Acts 15 with Acts 16:2 and 1 Corinthians 7:18. How should a Christian who is physically descended from Abraham view circumcision today? Oh, this is our favorite part of the day. Holly's favorite question. I'm going to read it and then she's going to give us the answer. Exodus 29:37 and Exodus 30:29. So this was her favorite question from last week. I should clarify that. Whatever touches the altar is holy because the altar is holy. Compare this to the distorted view of Jesus's adversaries in Matthew 23:16-21. Take it away, Holly.
All right. So, whatever touches the altar is holy because the altar is holy. This is rooted in Exodus 29:37 and Leviticus 6:18. This represents a principle of derived holiness, that the sacred object sanctifies anything that comes into contact with it. In contrast, Jesus' adversaries, the scribes and the Pharisees in Matthew 23:16-21, developed a distorted, legalistic system that inverted or flipped this principle, elevating material value over spiritual.
Derived holiness. That's quite a theological term.
Isn't it? Yeah, I know. I'm getting very theological today.
On.
So, the original principle, let's look at Exodus. So, the source of holiness. The altar is made most holy through a 7-day consecration and atonement process that you can see in Exodus 29:36-37. Because the altar is holy, it imparts the holiness to anything it touches, such as sacrifices. So God's presence or purpose sets the object apart, and that setting apart spreads to what it touches. So looking at the distorted view, so that flip in Matthew 23:16-21, Jesus accuses the Pharisees of being blind guides and fools because their oath-making system created hypocritical distinctions, hypocritical, apocryphal.
Right.
I know. I had a lack of sleep last night. Let's try this again.
We had to wait till they're done laughing.
I know.
They're almost done.
This is very awkward.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Jesus accuses the Pharisees of being blind guides and fools because their oath-making system created hypocritical, I got it right, distinctions based on greed rather than holiness. Not a funny thing.
No.
So materialism versus spirituality. The Pharisees taught that swearing by the temple meant nothing, but swearing by gold in the temple was binding. So they claimed swearing by the altar. Oh, I just read that. I'm repeating it. So the distortion that we're looking at is that they ignored that the temple sanctifies the gold and the altar sanctifies the gift. Their logic prioritized the material gift, which they might profit from, over the sacred place of atonement. So the bottom line, by valuing the gift over the altar, the Pharisees demonstrated blindness and hypocrisy, using religion to mask greed. So Jesus clarifies that the altar temple is greater than the gift of gold, as it is the source of the sanctification.
Thank you, Holly.
So that's I'm convoluted a little bit there with me stuttering over hypocrisy, but that's my answer.
No, everyone loves it. Okay, so help me make this study better. Pass on important cross references I didn't provide, give feedback on the chronological sequence, and give questions that we didn't think of. So, what are we going to say? Oh, look at that. We just said, see you next week.
Oh, yes. See you next time.
Yeah, we made it, humans.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, and we will be out on the road, but fret not, for we will pre-record instead of going live. Since none of you watch live, it doesn't really matter whether it's live or pre-recorded, But we kind of like doing the live, because it makes us happy.
Lots of hijinks ensue too.
Yes, hijinks, shenanigans. Okay, peace.
Adios.